Afternoon, lovelies. How are you all doing? Welcome back to Raving with Rua here on my YouTube channel, Songs from the Rua Room, dedicated to singer-songwriters from Belgium and beyond. It is Sunday, the last day of May, and I hope you're all doing fine and well. This will be episode 44 of this little live stream series here on the channel. If you are watching live on YouTube or indeed Facebook, let us know where and how you're doing. Let me know if you're on there and can hear everything. And if you'd like to leave a little comment up for myself or my guest, please feel free to do so in the comment section. If you would like to consider subscribing to the YouTube channel, that would be fantastic. Please hit that notification bell as well and you'll miss not a thing. If you'd like to contribute financially, my PayPal link is in the description below. My virtual tip jar is always open down there. Alternatively, of course, you can visit the RWRroom.com and have a look at the shop. There's all kinds of goodies in there should you wish to do that. As always, today's stream brought to us courtesy of the great people of G-Sharp Guitars, the world's finest travel electric guitars. So yes, I hope you're all doing fine and well wherever you're watching from. Please let us know from where. My guest today is over in Bristol, and a great singer-songwriter. In 2019, he won a string of awards, including Best Vocalist, Best Album, Best Song, lots of awards behind his name. I was very fortunate to have heard of Danny through his management company, who we'll speak about in a moment. But let's go over to Bristol and talk to the great Danny McMahon. Are you there, Danny?
I am indeed. How are you?
I'm very well, sir. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I say sort of enjoying the sunshine a little bit, which is nice. We can go sort of do that a little bit now. And so,
absolutely,
yeah,
we can do it a little bit now, as you said. Yeah, we're in the middle of this lockdown pandemic lark that's going on.
Indeed.
Is everyone's behaving themselves and complying in Bristol? Are they doing their best?
Sort of. As I say, yeah, sort of. I don't go to the busy places at the moment because it looks a bit busy for my liking at the moment. So we'll stick to the garden for now.
Yeah, indeed. What were you doing prior to this? Were you in the middle of any big tour or recording? Were you?
Luckily we managed to get some really good touring in at the start of the year. So we did a bunch in the UK, and then we did Germany, and then we did the States as well. So we sort of did Philadelphia, and then played in Harrisburg, and then went to New York, back to Philadelphia, and flew back home. So we did a bunch of shows just before this kicked in. So it was thank goodness, because obviously everything's. I think that was near enough. I think when we played the Rockwood Hall in New York, and that was actually the last show I played. So it was nice to at least go out in style before all this kicked in.
Wow! The Rockwood Hall in New York was your last gig before you were kicked out of the country, was it?
Yeah, basically, literally. Yes.
I'm going to ask you here, when I put you on full screen, if you don't mind, there's a big logo on your head there. Maybe you can move out of the way of that, could you?
Yeah,
go on. To your left a little bit. There you go, so we can see you. I know G-Sharp Guitars will be happy to have their logo on your head, but just, you know how it is. So, yeah, but it's great to chat to you. I mean, congratulations, by the way, on all those awards. And you're on your second #1 single in the UK country music charts. That's an amazing feat. Yeah.
Yeah, as I say, I was. So when we did it the first time, obviously, you put a lot of time, a lot of resources, a lot of money into obviously making sure that as an independent artist, the record is successful. And obviously we did that the first time around. So, once we'd done that, I wasn't necessarily expecting it with this one, because the focus was very much on sort of international touring for this year. But I wrote this one with a guy called Tyler Bank in Nashville towards the end of last year, and I just absolutely fell in love with the song. So I thought, you know what, it's fresh, I like it, it sort of suits where we're at the moment. So let's just put it out and see what happens with it. And it started sort of picking up a really good response. Had some really good content together for it as well. Sort of, we just done the tour in the States and whatever else, to sort of put that all into a video and sort of made the video for it. And
you're talking about the second song. Are you talking about My Kind of City? Are you?
Yeah, I am at the moment. Yeah, So that was the one that sort of. It was really interesting to sort of catch the attention in that way. That a second time round was really cool.
Yeah, we will if we have time, and hopefully we'll play both of your singles, because I love the song as well. Beautiful.
When I see
the second song, beautiful as well. The The name escapes me, but I have it here.
Is it When I See You?
When I See You. Thank you. Beautiful song as
Yeah.
well.
Thank you.
Do you co-write a lot, Danny? Is that something you do a
I
lot?
do, yeah. So When I See You was a really interesting one from that perspective, actually, because it was the first song that I'd ever put out that I wasn't actually a writer on. I was hired to produce that song. So basically, the way that it went was this a commercial writer who's signed to my publishing label back home. That I've got about 20 odd artists on that label. We basically he just sent me this song that his grandfather had passed away relatively recently. And he was like, look, can you just produce this? Can we get a demo together and pitch it out to other people? That was kind of the idea. And as we did that, we sort of, the master came back that we were sort of happy to send off to people. And I was like, that works. That actually works. And he was like, I'm absolutely in love with it. Would you consider releasing it? I was like, well, I was a bit skeptical at first because it was sort of, that wasn't the idea and that wasn't the process. That wasn't the mindset. Yes. But actually it worked. And, you know, at the end of the day, sometimes in music, if it works, I always say that, you know, a good record is something that's been, you know, produced well, written well, and then sung by the right singer. So, you know, if it feels like all three of those elements are working cohesively, then it's probably a good idea. And that's kind of just the journey that the song went on. And I think people just sort of seem to really click with the sort of like the universal message of, you know, we're going to lose someone at some point in our lives, and, you know, death is something we're all going to experience whether we want to or not.
Beautiful, beautiful song, and I'd love to get that in before we, you know, in the course of our chat. But is producing, is that something that you've always been interested in? Like, I mean, apart from the, you know, you're a songwriter and singer and performer number one, but is there a side of you where that is drawn to the production end of things?
Absolutely, yeah. So my understanding of sort of producing and commercial writing as one sort of came together when I was about 18, I think it was, and I actually got picked up to work as a session musician originally by Paramount Music. I was working as a guitarist and then doing some sort of demo vocals for them, and I was working with a guy who'd written for like Blake Shelton and all the big guys in the American charts. And he just said to me, he was like, do you write any of your own stuff? Just sort of, you know, on a whim. And I was like, well, yeah, I could probably, you know, just basically recorded just some stuff, you know, literally on my BlackBerry at the time, I think it was.
Was it? Wow.
I just, just on the spot, and just sent him over a few bits and bobs, and ended up sort of and being involved in the world of commercial writing that way. I think after about a year or so, we were sort of pitching for Taylor Swift's record at the time.
Amazing.
So yeah, and that was kind of my introduction into writing and producing country music.
Really. Amazing story too, yeah. And was that all happening stateside, or was that happening sort of from Bristol, kind of over and back?
Yeah, that was sort of over and back, because obviously, you know, as I'm sure you're aware, there's so much of that goes on now with the joys of the internet. You know, as I say, you know, half of my clients aren't British anymore, so I got guys in Germany, Australia, the States. You know, it just sort of, you know, when you can work remotely, and it just seemed to work that because there is stuff, you know, happening with country music over in the UK, even on a commercial level. Obviously, most of it's a lot of it is obviously, you know, the most of it, in fact, 90% of it is still going over to the States. Like, you know, my publishing company, the one that I'm now signed to, are all based in the States. You know, but I just send all my work out there. So you know, it's interesting.
Well, listen, I'm going to play a song for the folks. We're going to start with the newest song. This is called "My Kind of City," and a great song it is as well. Tell us a little bit about the song, or if it's a co-write, or etc. etc.
Yeah, so I wrote this one with a guy called Tyler Bank in Nashville. Great writer. I basically saw him play at a writer's night. I played my writer's round, and he was on after me, and I just listened to his stuff, and I was like, I would actually buy your music. I really like the vibe of what you're doing. So I just went up to him at the end of the show. I was like, do you want to write a song sometime? And he actually said no originally, because he was so busy at the time.
Of course.
But he just had a cancellation a couple of days later. So I, you know, jumped in my rental car when I was over there, and just popped over to his place. And we had a couple of hours on this one, over some coconut water, nice and rock and roll. And put this one together. I just really like the idea, really like the vibe. I think we started with the Paris Pretty line was the one that sort of like got the whole ball rolling, which is cool.
Kind of jumped you off. Right, well, I'm going to play this, folks, for you. We'll be back with a little bit more chat from the great Danny McMahon. Here is My Kind of City. Great song.
There's a big old compare to you. There's a big old sky above, seen a million lights lighting up the night, but none of them shine bright as you. I spent a lot of time trying to find something I didn't need, 'cause I got the best of every single city sitting right here with me. You're wild like New Orleans on a Friday, got me buzzing like NYC down on Broadway, smooth as a small town Tennessee whiskey neat. You got me high like the sun off the coast of Morocco, cool as the chorus down in Monte Carlo, strong as a coffee on a quiet Venice street. You drive me London crazy, you're Paris pretty, you're everything I need, you're my kind of city. There's people everywhere with different styles and all kinds of smiles, but none of them compare to you. 'Cause you bring the best of every single city right home to me. You're wild like New Orleans on a Friday, got me buzzing like NYC down on Broadway, smooth as a small town Tennessee whiskey neat. You got me high like the sun off the coast of Morocco, cool as the chorus down in Monte Carlo, strong as a coffee on a quiet Venice street. You drive me London crazy, you're Paris pretty, you're everything I need, you're my kind of city. I spent a lot of time trying to find something I didn't need, 'cause I got the best of every single city sitting right here with me. You walk like New Orleans on a Friday, got me buzzing like NYC down on Broadway, smooth as a small town Tennessee whiskey neat. You got me high like the sun off the coast of Morocco, cool as the chorus down in Monte Carlo, strong as a coffee on a quiet Venice street. Strong as a coffee on a quiet Venice street. You drive me London crazy, you're Paris pretty, you're everything I need, you're my kind of city.
Well done, Danny McMahon. That is a fabulous song. It really is.
Thank you.
It is no surprise, really, that your songs are being picked up all over the States and being played on radio. Yeah, top class, really. And like I said, the best has still to come, I'm sure, for you. You're a great artist.
Thank you.
I was very impressed when I discovered your music for the first time, and I'm a fan of country music as well. All kinds of country music. I know you're British born and bred, but McMahon, there has to be an Irish connection there somewhere. I saw the name. What's the story?
So my dad and his family moved over from Dublin. So my dad grew up literally right next to Croke Park, and they moved over when he was about sort of like 11, 12 years old, basically. So moved to Bristol. I think it was a choice between Buffalo or Bristol, and I went
Buffalo
for some reason.
I love it. And your granddad as well is Irish. Is that what you said before?
That's correct. Yeah. So the whole family moved over when.
Moved over in the area.
Yeah. There's loads of different parts of the family all moved over over here. Yeah.
Have you been over on holiday much to the old roots to
yes,
Ireland,
I have.
and back?
I've been a few times. I've been obviously to Dublin a few times, and then I played sort of all over towards the more towards the West Coast as well with an old band. Our drummer was from Donegal, so I spent a little while out there as well. Yeah,
Beautiful. There's a few places I suppose that are near and dear to your heart.
Indeed.
My homeland. And what was
Yes.
tell us? I mean, you're a young man. I mean, you've reached a lot of goals, I'm sure, in your life musically at your tender age. But
Yeah.
I'm wondering how it started for you, and why country music? Why not rock and roll? Why not jazz? You know, what drew you into that scene?
Yeah, well, thing is, like, you know, I'm not one of those guys that sort of like pretend that, you know, like that I was born with a glass spoon in my mouth, with a silver spoon in my mouth, and that my dad was sort of playing Waylon Jennings from a young age. It didn't go that way at all. It was my first sort of introduction into that country Americana thing was my dad's favorite band were the Eagles, and they played all the time. And you know, my dad basically taught me how to play guitar, and we'd sit and do a lot of, like, you know, the Hotel California duets and all that kind of stuff.
Beautiful
and that's
stuff
kind of
too,
how we. Yeah, that's kind of how we sort of like how I looked to play, you know, guitar properly, both acoustically and electric. It sort of had everything all in one for me. And then I actually got signed on a development deal when I was 16 to a major label doing rock music.
Wow.
Yeah, that was my sort of like integration into the the industry, as it were.
Yeah.
So I did that for like 3 years. I think I was on that development deal, and then I decided I ended up going more down the writing path once I'd ended up working with the guys at Paramount. And once I was been working with them, I actually just sort of had this idea. I was at that point, I was simultaneously studying music at university. I was doing music business because I kind of wanted to have this greater understanding. Because when you're so young and you get signed so young, you're sort of like signing stuff and being told to do stuff without kind of understanding what it is. And so for me, I just was like, I want to be able to do my own contracts. I want to be able to understand how this works, and, you know, be not just a musician but a music sort of entrepreneur at the same time was kind of the vision that I had. And so that's why I ended up setting up my own label, my own publishing company, studio, all that kind of stuff off the back of kind of what I was doing.
Okay,
yes.
That was a very good move. I mean, a lot of younger musicians, you know, when they start breaking into the scene, can really fall into a lot of traps. As you know, the pitfalls are huge once you start dealing with the sharks at all. You know,
this is it. I mean, I was very, very lucky. I had a very good lawyer from like Dot, who I knew as a friend through a friend, basically. Okay. So, and he sort of like, he still does all my stuff now. So he sort of seen my journey all the way through and everything that I was doing. So he gave me some really good advice moving through, which was really helpful.
Amazing, yeah. And are you like, would you class yourself as an independent artist now? I mean, you work with labels now. Apart from as you as an artist, I'm not talking about the songwriting now, but I know you have management, but being marketed or helped,
To me, you know, I fully believe in it that, you know, until you've got a record label investing money into you're still an independent artist as far as I'm concerned. Yes, because you know what I mean. So at this particular moment in time, I am, as I say, you know, I've got some publishing wrapped up, which is great, which is good. I am managed, but as far as having a record label that's like sort of like invested into me as Danny McMahon, I don't have that yet. So I very much would consider myself an independent artist.
But of course, as you and I well know, and some of the listeners will know, that there are many ways, of course, of being successful within the music industry without being sort of the front person, but being the main man on stage, which you are, of course. But as you well know, it can be a very lucrative business if you're writing with the right people, and you have, you know, songs being landed with the right artists, as you say, and which I assume that has happened for you, I suppose, at this stage already, has it?
Yeah, 100%. I have been involved in a lot of that, you know, and a lot of people think, you know, it's obviously the outside view is that unless you're Ed Sheeran, you can't make a career in the music industry.
Yes.
Right. But it's, you know, as I say, there's so many things when my paycheck comes in at the end of the month. There's so many different things that are kind of that you have to be able to do, and, you know, be able to sort of have the capacity to work in, I guess. It's sort of, you know, obviously I've got my publishing clients. I work as a producer, you know, I do music for like the BBC and Channel 4 on some really simplistic stuff, you know, just sort of like guitar ditties on Countryfile and all that kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah, but it's all income, and it's all part of the music industry, whether whether you're writing elevator music or jingles or hits This is great, and a lovely position to be in.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, as I say, that was, people always ask me, so, you know, what's your big dream and what's your big goal? And I've said, well, kind of already done it, and that was to be, when I left university, was to be able to do music full time as a job, because not that many people get to do it, and that's kind of, as I say, that's a position I now found myself in. So
Amazing.
Anything from here is a bonus, really. That's kind of how I see it.
Can I ask you your age?
I'm 28.
Are you 28? Okay, not even 30. Amazing.
No.
Do you think, say in 10, 15 years time, you'd still love to be on the road more, or would you think the gut feeling now says I'd like to be more in the background as a producer? I mean, you've seen probably every aspect of the music business and industry at this stage of your young life. What at this stage, what is kind of more attractive to you, the road or the background stuff?
Do you know what? I get asked this question a lot, and for me, it sort of engages two completely different parts of my brain. I don't think I could necessarily, because with my company, the way that we work is it's a lot of like arts development stuff. So you're kind of always looking at the full package. And for me, it's sort of, you can't really, for me, I don't enjoy doing one without the other, if that makes sense.
Yes, indeed.
So yeah, that's kind of where it sits for me. Like, I haven't got to that point yet where I don't enjoy being on the road, or find it tiring, or find it boring, or any of that kind of stuff. Like, I love traveling, I love meeting new people, I love doing new things, especially that's the way that the country thing's very much gone, because obviously there's a big market for it in Europe, and obviously America speaks for itself, so a lot of it involves traveling, and for me that's amazing, but so is that experience in the studio. So
you started off playing country music. What scene like in Bristol? Was there any kind of a country scene as such? I mean, or did you have to kind of travel to find it, or what was it like as a teenager or as a late teen?
Yeah, for me, I didn't even consider the concept of going out and playing country music until my first record came out 2.5 years ago, basically. Okay, wow. Yeah, I never even thought about, I was writing it. I was writing for other people in the UK scene. I was, pitching to America. But the concept of me loving modern American country music and being a British guy and going out singing that, I just thought that had no credibility whatsoever. It was only when I first went and did it, and then we got picked up within, like, I think it was 3 months, went basically go and play a bunch of shows over on the West Coast. Over there, and we had this like really sort of like cool response of like, oh, there's not a male British artist kind of doing what you're doing over here, and I hadn't even really considered that kind of stuff. And that was where it all just sort of like escalated from, really. Amazing.
Yeah, so it just kind of took off all of a sudden, kind of almost overnight.
Yeah. And as I say, Bristol, as you said, Bristol wasn't the place for it. It almost still isn't. Like, I'm always trying to
or England in general,
create it myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a decent scene in London, and the British Country Music Association is based in and around Manchester. So they're the two what I would regard as hotspots at the moment. But so if we can create like one day, create a hub the way they have done with Nashville, would just be incredible. Wherever that may be in the UK, that would be absolutely brilliant. But I think it's got a long way to go before we get there.
I think so too. Yeah. Well, look, speaking of Nashville, I know you're over and back, but there's a song here I've got lined up called "Broken Hearted." It looks like you're doing it. It's a little live song, and I think it happened in Nashville. Is that right?
So no, this was actually in Birmingham, but it was they do a thing called Nashville Sounds in the Round.
Nashville Sounds in the Round, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So they set it up as like a Nashville writers round
in the round.
The way that you do one of those, which is really cool.
Okay,
yeah.
That's
so you do it that way, and it's. Yeah, no, it's amazing. It's actually run by a band called Gasoline and Matches, and a guy called Dan Wharton, who's basically got a platform called Your Life in a Song. He basically interviews all the big US artists when they come over here. So they've got some really good sort of like strategic backing and whatever else, and they sell it out every time, and it's a great event to play. Really, really cool.
Amazing. It sounds amazing. Do you want to announce the song or say anything about it?
This was actually this was near enough, or potentially the first country song I ever wrote. I just sort of, again, this was to be pitched to other people originally, but I kind of started playing it in my own sets once I started going out and doing my own thing. We had a really good response, so I thought, okay, I'm going to keep it. Let's just roll with it as a Danny McMahon song.
Let's do it. Let's roll it now. It's called Broken Hearted, folks, from the brilliant Danny McMahon, from a gig called Nashville Sounds in the Round. Enjoy this.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Thank you very much. Cheers. That was another great one. One of the first songs you said. That was one of the first songs you wrote. Great. Tell us a little bit about your band, Danny. You have a great band when you go out on the road. I know. Do you bring them everywhere, or is it just around England with the boys?
No, so I bring them everywhere if the opportunity allows, basically. So the great thing about country music and doing it in this setup, like I've always been in like rock and pop bands before, and that was sort of like, you know, when you're in bands, it's sort of like you got to bring everyone, or that's it. You know, with this, I can either go out just by myself. I also have like a semi-acoustic trio setup, and then I have the full band setup as well. So, you know, so that basically allows you to be booked for more shows, in a nutshell.
Yes.
Which is, makes it a bit more versatile in that regard.
Well, give the boys a shout out there on the stream, if you don't mind, who's in the band. Yeah.
Of course. So I've got Andrea Succi on lead guitar and vocals. I've got Tyler Spicer on bass and vocals, and I've got Sam Sanders on drums and vocals.
Oh, you make a great sound between you. These boys are obviously top of their game as well.
Indeed,
absolutely. Sounds like it. And I'll play the other side. I think is that what it's called? There's a great song, that we'll play in a moment as well. When people will be able to hear the full band in action. Great stuff. I also want to remind people, folks, if you are watching on Facebook, give Danny's page a follow there. Danny McMahon Music, Danny McMahon UK. I'm sorry, covers everything. Covers Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. It's all in there, folks. So that's where you'll find you. That's where you'll find them. You said you're working on a website as well at the moment. So
I am indeed. It'll be there soon. In the next couple of weeks is the aim.
That's the aim of the game. And of course, I want to give a shout out and a thank you to Rachel at Scarlet River Management, who put this together for us and sent you my way. So thanks very much to Rachel if you're watching there. There is another young lady on her label as well that we might be able to hook up with and do a little chat with, whose name escapes me. Maybe you can remind me.
Kelsey Bovey is her name.
Kelsey Bovey, thank you very much, Kelsey. So I'm hoping that we can have a chat with Kelsey as well. She seems to be an up and coming artist as well to watch out for. When you go on the road, Annie, just for the guitar geeks and the technophiles among us, you love guitars. We got a lot of them. What do you use on stage and on the road when you go out these days? Acoustic and electric?
So acoustic, I use a Sigma, so German bass guitars. So they're absolutely gorgeous guitars. Really durable as well. That's the main thing for me when I'm out on the road. Like, you know, the Taylor doesn't ever really leave the studio, to be honest. It's just too nice. It's getting thrown around on aeroplanes. As I say, I would like to bring my Sigma out with me. It's nice and durable, nice and bright. But also when I'm playing by myself, it's got like a really nice rounded texture as well in terms of where it's got that real nice like bottom end bass boom as well if you need it. So if you're doing any of the percussive stuff, it's really nice for that. Electric, I've tried so many electric guitars, and I always go back to the first proper stage instrument I ever bought, which is an American Fender Strat. Yeah. So the American standard. I can't get away from it. You know, I've had a Gibson SG. I had an ES 335 for a while, but I just always go back to the Strat. It's just the most versatile.
The iconic country guitar, really, doesn't it?
In this day and age,
At this day and age, it really has kind of everything you need. It has that country twang built in almost. You know, it's amazing. What do you run amp wise? And
so I'm endorsed
and stuff. Yeah.
I don't use tons of pedals because Drea, my lead guitarist, is very much into like he works with me. He's a producer, so he's very very much into making sure that he's got a huge rack unit on what he does. But with my stuff, my tone is very much based in and around. I'm endorsed by Mezza Barber, who are basically Mazzotti, so based in Italy. Okay. So they're made in Rome. So they're amazing. They sort us out all over the world as well.
Your amp, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, my amp. Yeah, they're gorgeous. I use the head and cab for those guys as well. And as I say, they always sort us out when we go to the States or when we're in Europe as well. So they're absolutely amazing to be working with. And then my main go-to pedal is I do the majority of what I've got out of Carl Martin AC Tone. So it's designed to sort of like replicate that crispness of a Vox AC30, basically. Right. So that's the idea. But it's
your main sound is out of that.
Yeah, comes out of that. As I say, they're Danish made.
Yeah, they have a big name. I was going to say, I saw some Norwegian and Danish musicians with Carl Martins. Yes, I was intrigued by it.
Yeah, it's superb, absolutely out of this world as far as again, they're really versatile. And you've got you've got a boost, and then you've got two different types of distortion all in one, basically. So it's a really versatile pedal. You can kind of do everything from the one place. Which again, when you're traveling, you can just bang it all in one small case rather than carrying a huge big thing with you. You know,
yeah, you don't need a big huge rack of stuff, but it's just some guitars. Maybe your lead guitarist likes his big rack board of pedals. Does he travel with with all of his gear? Yeah, some people
he tends to. Yeah,
I suppose it's good if you can. I suppose, and if you're traveling with them, and some people just like to have what they know with them all the time. Yeah. But tell us a little bit about the other side song. I'll give it a play. It's a live recording. From Guildford. It says in 2019.
Yeah. That was a great show. So that was sort of, if I remember rightly, our first show of the summer leg last year. So we had a ton of festivals last year. We played all over Europe and the UK, and we did last year, and that was like the first one of our big round of shows. So it was sort of like, it was really exciting that night. I remember it was like a new show, new lineup, new sounds. It was I really enjoyed that show. It was pretty busy in there as well, which is always great. So we always enjoyed that one. I just love playing this one live. It's funny, I barely ever play this one when I play acoustically by myself, but it's off the first EP. So but it's just got such a kick when we play it live. It's kind of got that driving rocky thing going. So it's good fun to play live.
And any kind of story behind the song or inspiration behind it?
For me, it was very much about that concept of when you experience something. So I wrote this one when I was like, I don't know, 2021. So it's about that kind of period of when you're like learning life and experiencing new things that you hadn't felt before and feeling really scared to do so, but you kind of just get to that point where sort of like human instinct takes over, whether that be your career, whether that be love, whether that be just a new experience in general. It was very much that kind of idea.
Very much. Okay, brilliant. Thanks for sharing that. Here it is.
Nice.
Folks, the other side from the great Danny McMahon and band this time, and we'll see it in about 3 minutes and 22 seconds.
When you sleep alone, better off at home. So try to be similar to me, 'cause sometimes it won't work. Sometimes you won't get hurt. And there's a time to see what's supposed to be. Trying my very best and not making it happen. Taking back again and again and again now. And in the car you play the DJ, I'll be driving. Back and play that song again and again now. That blue dress, that long hair. Don't care, just take me to the other side. I can't lose, lost in you. What's the guy supposed to do? So take me to the other side. That distorted view, 'cause now it's made for you. Just talk to me and think I might believe. I'm going nowhere fast, then you raise my past. I know there's every chance we'll make it twice. Try my very best and not make it a habit. 'Cause you get back again and again and again now. And in the car you'll play the DJ, I'll be driving. Back and play that song again and again now. That blue dress, that long hair. Girl, I don't care, just take me to the other side. I can't lose,
the great Danny McMahon of Irish descent.
Indeed.
Sort of. I keep putting that in there. Just, I'm claiming you today, Danny. That's it. I'm claiming you. That's it.
Of course, mate. You fire away.
I discovered you, Danny. Your career is just going to go whoop after this interview today. You're going to sell 1 million records overnight because you've declared your Irish roots. Wait till you see.
Amazing.
Did the boys travel? Did the boys travel with you to America as well? Did you bring them out?
Yeah. So the very first time I went, they did, and then the last time that we went at the start of this year, they did as well. It was great to go this time round as well because we'd sort of like developed a sound and sort of have some sort of a fan base in particular places over there as well. So it was nice to sort of be able to have that realised this time round. With obviously, it's usually just me and my acoustic guitar, so being able to sort of show people an understanding of how it sounds with the True Sonics was nice, really.
Yeah, I like that. True Sonics. That'd be a good name for a band as well.
Yes.
True Sonics, indeed. My question was going to be, it must be pretty grueling to travel all over the States with a band. I mean, it's a lot of mileage.
Yes, it's a lot of mileage. I mean, for me, I just love gigging and I love traveling. So for me, it never sort of worries me too much in terms of distances and whatever else. I say we travel all over Europe, we travel over the UK. Obviously, it is longer in the States. I think it's 40 hours coast to coast, something like that in terms of driving. So it does. It can get really grueling. I mean, we've never done a full stretch thus far. We've always done it in like concentrated areas. So we were in the east, or we're in the middle, or we're on the west coast, basically.
Kind of condensed it, yes.
Yeah, and sort of go and do that sort of like 2 or 3 times a year. That and do it that way tends to be the most efficient way of doing it.
And what about out here, Belgium, Germany, Holland? Is that a territory that you have explored already, or?
So we've done Germany. We did the country music meet in Germany. I really enjoyed that. That was a great vibe. The idea is to get back to. We met a really cool band from a country, but new country band from Holland. Whilst we were out there, so we're hopefully going to do some shows with them. So in Holland and Germany, that's the plan. So
that's the plan. Well, do you have plans after this lockdown is lifted and you're back out on the road? What are the kind of the immediate plans tour wise? Do you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, the idea, we were supposed to, Kelsey and I were actually supposed to be doing a tour together out in the States. We were supposed to be doing the West Coast. We were supposed to be doing like LA, Vegas, Idaho. Obviously, that's all been cancelled, but we're going to obviously reschedule it early next year. So the idea is to get back to the US, do that segment, do another trip to Nashville, and then do a bunch of stuff in Europe as well, because we've got some, we're supposed to be playing Lithuania as well this summer as well. So yeah, there's lots going on, but fingers crossed we can all get back to it as soon as this is done.
Well, let me know when you're coming over this direction, because if you do happen to be in Belgium, I'd love to get you into the studio here to sing a acoustic song for us. If time permitting and all that, it'd be great.
Yeah, of course.
What is? I hear a lot of mixed opinions about Nashville itself. I mean, I know it's a tough town to make it in, to kind of to leave your mark in. Did you find that, or have you done a lot of work in Nashville? Maybe with writers, I'm sure, but certainly in the live scene, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. It must be hard.
Yeah, I think for me, it's with Nashville, it's a case of sort of trying to understand it. It's not like, for me, that's my first trip was sitting in studios and writing, understanding how that side of it works, and then just going and watching shows and meeting people. I didn't actually play the first time I went. It was all sort of like, I wanted to kind of take it in as I spent basically 3 weeks learning about how Nashville works before I would even attempt a live show. It's like when you go to school, you don't just walk in on the first day and sit your exam, do you? At the end of the day.
Yes.
So it was very much that kind of concept was the idea. So that the whole first trip, Rachel very much devised it that we were going to go into the studio, make sure that I go and meet writers, meet producers, all that kind of thing, and just go and watch a bunch of shows, meet new people. Just had loads of meetings. I even sat in on radio interviews and TV shows and just sat in the corner. And then the next time I went, I was actually on the TV shows. So
that's a great way to do it.
Yeah, so it's sort of
was
like
that
that.
Something you decided to do yourself, or was that from Rachel's
that's
idea?
kind of. It was kind of a bit of both. It's kind of, we very much both sort of agree on the concept of that we don't sort of like just jump into things straight away for the sake of it. And that's kind of, I mean, for me, that comes from sort of like the experiences that I had, when I had a lot happen really young. and then I sort of came away from it and sort of analyzed it and learnt it. It was like, for me, that was sort of like made me realize, oh, okay, maybe I should have done that in the first place, you know. So with this project, you know, as I say, we've very much done that. Sort of go into it, analyze it, weigh it up, see what's working and why it's working, and then that gives you a better indication of what, you know, you can then do. Because then the second time we went round, we played, I think it was, you know, 7 or 8 shows in Nashville, and then we played in St. Louis as well, so in Missouri. So it sort of like gave us a much bigger scope of understanding how it works. Because in Nashville, you know, everyone's automatically drawn to Broadway, which is the big street in the middle of Nashville, but it's all cover bands. All the actual venues are scattered.
Ironic, isn't it?
All outside.
Yeah. It's really ironic that the main drag is just this commercial drag, I suppose, of all cover bands.
Yeah.
Which is, which I assume, I haven't been there, but I assume has the Bluebird Cafe and has all these places downtown Broadway. Is that
well?
correct,
No,
or?
this is the thing. So the places like the writers' places, like the Bluebird, like the Listening Room, are all miles out of town.
Oh,
so
I see.
Yeah. So it's like, and also on Broadway, half the cover bands are rock bands. They're not even country bands.
Not even country bands.
Yeah,
Keep the tourists there. Wow. It's a fascinating idea, because, you know, I've always heard about it as being this mecca for, which it is, of course, still.
Yeah.
A mecca for music and musicians, but it's kind of weird that all the kind of the famous writing places are so far almost out of Nashville.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
And obviously all the big players, you know, none of them actually live in Nashville. They all live in Brentwood and Franklin, which is about half an hour, 40 minutes away from Nashville. So
Crazy, isn't
yeah,
it's crazy stuff. I want to try and get a couple more songs in, because you have so many good ones, Danny. And thank you so much for sticking with us for so long here. Much appreciated. But tell us a little bit about this. This is your first single, and it also went to #1 in the UK country charts, When I See You.
Yeah, so When I See You, yeah. Yeah, really interesting. As I say, it was I was never supposed to sing this song, basically, in a nutshell. I was supposed to produce it. I was never ever supposed to sing it, but I just really connected with it. And, you know, as I say, I think it was the message that sort of allowed people to really, you know, dig their teeth into this song. You know, I've had it played at funerals, all sorts of different events, which is kind of, you know, I mean, it's sad, and it's obviously not the happiest thing to talk about, but at the end of the day, you know, when as a songwriter and an artist, when you put something out and it relates to people's real life and their real life experiences, that's kind of what you aim for.
Exactly.
So I guess that's
it's real life. It's real life, absolutely is. So what was when you said you had to produce it? Did you write this or co-write it as well?
So no, I didn't even write. I wasn't even a writer on this song. It was literally one guy wrote this, a guy called Dan Evans. He wrote it about his grandfather passing away, but he's not a vocalist. He's not an artist. As he's a great writer.
Yeah.
I've got him signed to Puzzle Maker, which is my company, and as he just sends stuff through, and we were sort of like pitching it to different places accordingly. But with this one, I just sort of, you know, as I say, but by complete fluke, this just came back, and I was like, that works. And he was like, yeah, I really like it. You know, if you're happy to sing it, let's put it out. So it was sort of a test more than anything to see how it sat. And, it went to #1. So
amazing. Well done, everybody, on this song. It's absolutely great, and so dedicated to all the granddads in the world, folks. Beautiful song, produced here by Danny McMahon and sung here by Danny McMahon. It's called When I See You. Check it out.
I'm staring at my bedroom wall, where I got the call the day there would be no more days. When something inside me said nothing would ever be the same. Can we go back to yesterday? So much I want to say that I couldn't tell you back when. Wasn't strong enough, I couldn't show my love there. When I see you, we'll light up the stars in the sky, and I'll show you things that I've done with my time. nothing but killing time, never knowing when it's gonna end. Just know I might talk to you, I'd rather walk with you. I miss your laugh and your smile, and I would give anything to hear you talk for a while. When I see you light up the stars in the sky, and I'll show you things that I've done with my time. When I see you, I tell you my girl's doing fine. But tonight ain't the night, and I've got to go on with my life till I see you. I've been talking to myself again. I believe, but I don't see. Oh, I close my eyes and count to 10. When I look, it's only me. When I see you light up the stars in the sky, and I'll show you the things that I've done with my time. When I see you, I tell you my boy's doing fine. But tonight ain't the night, and I've got to move on with my life till I see you. When I see you, when I see you, oh.
Yeah, that is just powerful, powerful, Danny. Harold Evans, I skipped that little last piece in the video. I'm sorry, but it said Harold Evans on the end of the video there. I lucky enough to,
Yeah.
to have met both my grandparents, both sets of grandparents. But yeah, that would make you miss them. That song. It's a wonderful piece of writing and a wonderful piece of music. The writer again,
Thank you.
who wrote it
Daniel
again?
Evans.
Daniel Evans.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
assume that the people in the video were his family and granddad. Were they or?
They're actually my family.
Oh,
So it was all
your
my family in the video.
Amazing.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah. So obviously, I just said to him as a touch. Obviously, I just wanted to put that because obviously the song was written about his grandfather, so I was just going to pop that at the end of the video for him
Sure.
because obviously I think that's important.
Absolutely. And again, I'm sorry for cutting off that lovely image at the end there.
No, it's okay.
I didn't see it coming, but the people who will rewatch it, I'm sure, again and reshare that video because it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Are you very strict on yourself? Are you very hard on yourself as a songwriter or as a producer? Do you nitpick at your work? Is it easy for you to let things go?
I've got better at it, I would say. I think you have to be. At the end of the day, you kind of have to be at peace with yourself.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I've worked with mixers and producers in the past who will just do like 120 mixes of a song, quite literally. And it's just at that point, it's just like, okay, potentially you could make it better, but you just let it go. Let it go.
Yeah.
You're always going to be able to make it better, but there's going to be a next time and a time after that. You just got to put it out there and keep it going. And you never know how people are going to react to it at the end of the day. The general public aren't in your brain. I think that's the main thing that you've got to
That's a
consider.
good point.
Yeah. For me, so as I say, for me, when I see you, I didn't see that happening. I didn't see my kind of city happening. Every time I put a record out, as an artist, I will always go, oh yeah, I'm not sure if this is as good as the last thing I put out, and and then the reviews coming in, it's good and it's positive and all that kind of stuff. So for me, I've just learned to just let it go and just to keep focusing on yourself and getting better for the next time round. Make it as good as you can, of course, but yeah.
but you have to kind of sometimes just draw the line. Okay, like enough is enough.
Yeah.
And I think it's sometimes a blessing and a curse as well when you do have a musical ear, when you do have that producer side to you. You know, I try to explain to people sometimes that we can't really listen to music as musicians or as producers. Sometimes you go and you start pulling it apart and nitpicking at everything and going, oh, the sound of this and the sound of that. And I think you and I, we hear it so much differently than you know, the average public, should you say.
Totally. No, this is it. And sometimes you've got to, you know, again, I always tell a lot of my clients when I'm working with them and they're sort of like overanalyzing like the tiniest detail, just try and remember that 90% of your audience will not care. They actually will not care about whether you put that particular. Yeah, they won't
care if there's a little ding dong somewhere, or this sound, or that the snare sounds a certain way. Nobody hears that. Very few people.
They don't.
No, they don't.
They really they don't.
And
as I say, it's kind of 100%. You know, it's great to make everything. You know, all those individual pieces of attention to detail is what makes a great record at the end of the day. But it's important not to overdo it and actually just sometimes enjoy it for what it is. As you say, I would give anything to be able to listen to music from a non-critical perspective for 15 minutes. To be honest,
yes, it's tough. Yeah, when you have that kind of background, you know, I mean, especially whereas producers are concerned, I think especially musicians do it a lot too, but in particular producers, because as I say, you start listening for stuff that the normal ear doesn't hear.
Exactly.
It's a strange one. It's a strange one.
For sure.
It's a strange one. I'd love to play another song before we say goodbye, Danny. Again, you have so many great ones, and I'm pulling these from Danny's YouTube channel. Folks, check out all these great songs again. But tell me about what it's like. Tell me what it's like.
Yeah, so that was a really, really early one. That was the first song I wrote with the intention of being an artist, I think, for me.
Wow. Okay.
That was kind of like, I've been listening to a guy called Cole Swindell quite a lot, and I was kind of like, this is kind of the vibe of what I envisaged myself going for. As an artist, and again, it was sort of like it was a heart on your sleeve classic love song. And for me, you know, having done the pop thing and writing to brief before that, I'd sort of found myself very sort of stagnated emotionally as a writer, if that makes sense. So for me, it was nice to be able to actually sort of like give people a little piece of myself for the first time in a long time as a writer. So that was very much what this was all based in and around. Obviously, that's the essence of country music, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Somebody said the same thing to me yesterday. You know, being stagnated emotionally, you hit the nail on the head there. A lot of us go through that. And how do you get over that? How do you as a writer go? Are you the kind of writer that needs to like take a lot of notes all the time, or do you like to sit down and go, I feel like writing something now, or are you constantly going around kind of writing notes, sticking them in your phone? How's it work?
Yeah. So to be honest, I do sort of about half and half as far as those are concerned. So if I see like a phrase or a particular something that I really, really like that resonates. So I've got a song called Boys Cry Too, which is about male mental health. And that was very much sort of something that I saw a sign in Nashville that said boys cry too, but it wasn't necessarily applicable to anything. And I kind of made that applicable to me in my life and in a way I thought would be applicable to other people. So I was like, if I was a man feeling that way, I'm sure there's going to be other men that feel that way too. That was kind of the way that I went with that. But as I say, you know, there will also be times where, you know, I'm feeling a particular way, and, you know, when I'm able to sort of like open up to myself and be honest and kind of go, okay, this is how we're feeling. This is probably going to get a good song out of this. If it's real and it's authentic, then that's usually the best ones. And, you know, that's how I was feeling at that particular time, you know, for the first time in a long time. And I was like, okay, let's just run with it and see what comes, you know?
Yeah. But that's the way it can go, eh? Sometimes, you don't know what's going to inspire a song, and sometimes you can, especially if you're co-writing, you can bring an idea to the table, and it can blossom into something huge.
Of course,
out of that line or that idea. But let's go back to the song and give it a spin, Danny. It's I want to play this before we say goodbye. It's called What It's Like, folks, and another great song from Danny McMahon. Enjoy this. See you in a few minutes.
Summer day 2016, wind in my face, wearing cheap white jeans. see you feel pretty confident with the way I feel and the things I've said. March 17 and I'm out of town, a country show and I'm out of bounds. I'm here for one last night, gotta meet that girl with the smiling eyes. So we talked, danced, girl it ain't fair how you rock that hat. So we talked, danced, 1 in 20,000, girl, what's the chance? Now I know what it's like to fall in love with someone new. Girl, I don't mean to hide, 'cause I'm trusting everything you do. Two hearts trying to protect them, but the best things come when you least expect them. Now, girl, I know what it's like to fall in love with someone new. Later, summer's coming up. Your hair's in my bed and we're all packed up. You pick my clothes and you wear mine. Every country love song makes me cry. Now I know what it's like to fall in love with someone new. Girl, I don't mean to hide, 'cause I'm trusting everything you do. Two hearts trying to protect them, but the best things come when you least expect them. Now, girl, I know what it's like to fall in love with someone new. I thought my book was all written down till you gave me something to dream about. You showed me a new home that I'm all done. It won't get the best of me. Let's make some memories. Now I know what it's like. Now I know what it's like. Now I know what it's like to fall in love with someone new. Girl, I don't mean to hide, 'cause I'm trusting everything you do. Two hearts trying to protect them, but the best days come when you least expect them. Now, girl, I know what it's like. Now I know what it's like. Now I know what it's like.
Brilliant stuff. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Danny McMahon.
Thank you, mate.
It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you and getting all that info about the songs and about your music business. Yeah, intriguing. And, you know, it's an hour of your life you'll never get back.
I loved it, mate.
No,
loved
it's great.
it.
I loved
Thank
it
you
too.
for having me.
Yeah, no, it was a pleasure to have you and to meet you. And hopefully I'll get over to the UK sometime, or I'll meet you on the road when you're out here in Europe. It'd be great to hear a full
course.
show and to shake your hand and to thank you in person for the time you've given us here today on the channel. So thanks very much.
No worries, pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Take care of yourself. Mind that old
Take care.
mind that old corona and keep up the great work.
Thank you, dude. You too. Take care.
Bye, Danny. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Right, folks, there you go. The brilliant Danny McMahon, Bristol-based singer-songwriter, brilliant artist. And I hope you will check out his Facebook and all of his social media links there on his channel. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. If you are watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. Feel free to donate there to the old PayPal link underneath as well if you'd like. I will see you all next time on the next Raving with Rua. You take care of yourselves now. Bye bye.